This is the question and answer for Chapter 2 of Psychology in Action textbook. Here we go. What is neuroscience? It is an interdisciplinary field studying how biological processes relate to behavior and mental processes. What must cells within our nervous system do? They must take in sensory information from the outside world through our eyes, ears, and other sensory receptors, and then decide what to do with it. What is the nervous system? It is a network of nerve cells, and the fibers that transmits nerve impulses between parts of the body. What are neurons? They are cells of the nervous system that communicate electrochemical information throughout the brain and the rest of the body. What does electrochemical mean? It is a branch of chemistry that deals with the relations between electrical and chemical phenomena. Oh, that's electrochemistry. Electrochemical it's the same. Now, what are glial cells? They provide structural, nutritional, and other support for neurons, as well as the communication within the nervous system, also called glia or neuroglia, from the Greek word glue. What are dendrites? They are branching neuron structures that receive neural impulses from other neurons and convey impulses towards the cell body. Dendrites. What is the cell body? Another word for cell body is soma, which is Greek for body. It is part of the neuron containing the cell nucleus, as well as other structures that help the neuron carry out its functions. That's the cell body, soma. What is the axon? The word comes from the Greek word for axle. It is a tube-like structure that carries information away from the cell body. So it's a tube-like structure. Yeah. What is the myelin sheath? The myelin sheath. It is a white, fatty coating around the axons of some neurons, but it isn't considered one of the 3 key features of a neuron, but it insulates and speeds neural impulses. The myelin sheath. What is an impulse? An impulse is a sudden, strong, unreflected urge to a desire to act. Like I had an almost irresistible impulse to giggle. Now, a pulse of electrical energy and a brief current. Oh, sorry, that's just for impulse. Now, what are terminal buttons? Terminal buttons of the axon form junctions with other cells. Conjunction, junction. with other cells and release chemicals called neurotransmitters. Terminal buttons of the axon form junctions with other cells that release chemicals called neurotransmitters. What are neurotransmitters? The chemicals that move the message from the end of the sending neuron to the dendrites of the cell or the cell body of the next receiving neuron, and the message continues. The neurotransmitters. What is a neuron's basic function? It is to transmit information throughout the nervous system. It's like the neurons speak to each other. Now, what is the resting potential? It is when an axon is not stimulated. What is an ion? It is an atom or a molecule with a net electric charge due to the loss or gain of one or more electrons. At rest, does the fluid inside the axon have more negatively charged ions than the fluid outside? Yes. So at rest, the fluid inside the axon has more negatively charged ions than the fluid outside. Yes. What results from the selective permeability of the axon membrane and a series of sodium-potassium pumps? What results from the selective permeability of the axon membrane and a series of sodium-potassium pumps? The fluid inside the axon has more negatively charged ions than the fluid outside. What is an axon? It is a long thread-like part of a nerve cell along which impulses are conducted from the cell body to the other cells. What innates the action potential? The action potential begins when the first part of the axon opens its gates and positively charged sodium ions rush through. What do the addition sodium ions change? The previously negative charge inside the axon to a positive charge, thus depolarizing the axon. What does the initial depolarization or action potential